Ever since I uploaded my first predictions video, it was evidently clear I have to do it again. After the first Five Nights at Freddy's movie was a huge success in the box office, it was confirmed right there and then that we'll be getting many more movies. Blumhouse have already gone to confirm that the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie will be coming, and it will be released on December 5th, 2025. Oh, we gotta wait another year for this. And we've seen confirmation for filming to start later this month. So, once again, there's no better time to start making predictions than now. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, welcome to my FNAF 2 movie predictions. Now, if you've seen my last predictions video, you probably will know how this is going to work. I have once again made a bingo list of predictions to events and other things that I think could happen in the movie. And once again, let it be known right now, these are just predictions. And these predictions are nothing more than my personal opinion. So you are welcome to agree with me or disagree with what I have to predict in this video. Also, I'd just like to add that if you are new here, please do consider subscribing, because I will be doing more FNAF movie predictions in the near future when we are getting the next movie. So please do stick around for that, I'd greatly appreciate it. Now, let's not waste any more time and just get straight into the bingo list. So we're kicking things off with a returning prediction, and that is FNAF YouTuber cameos. But this time I am going to be more specific here, and I mainly want to start talking about seeing a cameo from Markiplier. Now, I know I said last video that there could be a possibility that he could be in the first movie, but we all know how that turned out. Mark wasn't able to be in the first movie due to scheduling conflicts, as he was also filming his movie Iron Lung, coincidentally at the same time that Blumhouse was filming FNAF. So unfortunately, we didn't get Mark in the first movie. However, Mark's not filming Iron Lung this time, and Scott just so happened to have left a comment on one of Mark's videos saying, if we're fortunate enough to get to work on a sequel, oh boy Scott, you had no idea back then, did you? Then hopefully, we will have another shot at getting the King of FNAF into a FNAF movie. So with that being said, this could pretty much be the possible chance for Mark to make his debut in the FNAF cinematic universe. Oh my god, that's actually something I could say now. Okay, next up is kind of another returning prediction here, but that is that we'll see references to the 8-bit minigames from FNAF 2. And these minigames in particular are the Foxy Go 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 minigame, the Save Them minigame, Give Gifts, Give Life, and lastly, Give Cake. Each one of them can have some importance to the movie, with Foxy Go 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 and Save Them. They are both the minigames where we first see William Afton, or as we all used to call him back in the day, Purple Gay! But I want to mainly focus on the other two minigames here. Give Gifts, Give Life, and Give Cake. We're given a lot of things in it. First of all, Give Gifts, Give Life is the minigame where we see the puppet giving life to the animatronics by giving them the gift of life. This could be important to show, as they could do it just like how they did in the first film with showing an 8-bit minigame sequence in the opening credits of the film. So, you know, they could definitely do that again, and Give Gifts, Give Life is definitely something very relevant for the sake of the plot that they could do for it. And Give Cake is probably going to be the most important one regarding to the story, since this minigame is about a Freddy Fazbear animatronic going around a little pizzeria giving cake to children. Simple as that. However, outside of the building, there is a crying child left outside on their own, in the rain. And as the game goes on, we see none other than Purple Guy show up and takes their life. And this is important because that child in particular is Charlie Emily, William Afton's first victim and the soul who goes on to possessing the puppet. So for the sake of the plot, I feel like this is something they're definitely gonna do. I guess they could also reference one of the FNAF 6 minigames since you play as the puppet's POV of that day, and you see how the puppet ends up possessing Charlie's soul when it manages to break out of the pizzeria and sneak behind the back alley in the rain, you know? But yeah, for the sake of the plot 100%, that's going to be an important detail. Now, next prediction is another returning prediction. Yeah, how many more returning predictions do I have? Anyways, I have gone for that the toy animatronics will have voices. Now, I know you're probably only wondering why just the toy animatronics? Why not the withered animatronics too? Well, if you guys remember, in Ultimate Custom Night and FNAF AR, the toy animatronics all have had voices. Toy Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, and Mangle. Yes, they didn't have them in the actual game of FNAF 2, but I feel like they'll be more likely to have voice lines in the movie rather than the withereds, because it'd probably be a bit too much. Also because the toys are newer, so they probably have like the technology to be able to talk. You know what, saying this out loud, this is a bit silly, because Withered Bonnie and Withered Chica also had voice lines in Ultimate Custom Night, so you know what, just forget this one. Next up, we have another returning prediction. Oh my god, how many more are going to be reusing? Scott Cawthon will be playing Phone Guy. Again. Now, I know I said this last time, and I was horribly wrong. But look, alright, I can dream, okay? And hey, look, our phone guy substitute in FNAF 1 is currently busy rotting inside of a spring Bonnie suit right now. So, you know, they need somebody else to step in to fill the shoes of the FNAF 2 phone guy. And, you know, it could be Scott. It could be Scott this time. Please, Scott, we just want to hear you as phone guy one more time. Anyways, moving on to the next prediction, we have that the withered animatronics will look accurate to the game. And there's a reason I'd put this one down, but it's because in the ending of the first movie, when the pizzeria crumbles into ruins and left to be abandoned, even though it's already been abandoned, people had been speculating that the Blumhouse was going to bring back the FNAF 1 animatronics, since the FNAF 2 movie is said to be a sequel to the first film. So people were thinking that they were going to bring them back and have them be the counterparts of the withered animatronics, and, you know, make them look withered and sort of referencing the original withered animatronics. But after the 10th anniversary of FNAF, yeah, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and check that one off already. Okay, now we've got a new prediction here, and that is that we will see Withered Foxy's jump scare. Now, if you've played FNAF 2 or even, you know, seen gameplay of it, you'll know Withered Foxy's jump scare is very iconic. He runs down the hallway after you lose the batteries to your flashlight, and he leaps across the office and takes a bite out of your face. And to see Foxy do that in the movie would be kinda insane, I can't lie. But yeah, perhaps he could try jumping out at Mike, but he dodges him fast enough to not get bitten in the face, you know, because plot armor. But I don't know exactly when or where it could happen, but I feel like, for all time's sake, we definitely gotta have Withered Foxy's jump scare referenced in this film. 100%. I mean, they did it in the first movie with Foxy running down the hallway, so, you know, they could definitely do it again. Next prediction we have is another returning... Oh my god, I swear to god. There will be references to the original game. I've said this one before, and I'll say it again. This could be things like, perhaps, you know, the layout of the pizzeria, the camera layout, even props from the original game, like, perhaps, like, the posters on the walls, or even the paper pals. Or maybe things like the ambience from the game. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. Or perhaps hear the puppet's music box, which we kinda already have since they played it in the credits of the first movie. Or perhaps they could try referencing, you know, the rare screens of Withered Foxy, Withered Freddy, and Toy Bonnie. I don't know exactly what they do and how they do it, but we all know that there's going to be a lot of references again. They did it the first time, they're doing it again. Right, next up is that there will be Easter eggs in 90% of the movie.
Am I not original anymore?
Okay, to be fair, I'm not only meaning Easter eggs from just FNAF 2. We could see Easter eggs from other games as well, since the first movie done that. For example, one of the vandals, Carl, was wearing a Midnight Motorist t-shirt. Or the diner that MatPat's character worked at, Sparky's, an Easter egg to a fan-made character. So, you know, they could do way more of this stuff in this movie, and we all know exactly that they're going to do it. Okay, and oh, thank god, more original predictions now. Okay, now this one I think would be pretty cool if it happens, but I've gone with that the mangle bites someone's head off. Now, reason for this one is, of course, because in FNAF 2 is where we first hear of one of probably the most iconic events ever to happen in FNAF, and what eventually ends up becoming an absolute staple to meme culture.
Was that the bite of 87?
And theorists had managed to, uncover and reveal that Mangle is the one who had caused the bite of 87. Now, of course, this movie won't be the exact event of the bite of 87, since the first movie was set in the year 2000, and we know that it's going to be a sequel, so we don't need, a direct reenactment of this event or, a reference to it, but we know it happened. And anyways, if it's done right, it would be both really cool and also quite scary to see Mangle bite somebody's head off. We don't need to see it clearly, since the movie is still going to be rated PG-13, so, we're not going to expect major gore, because, that's never what FNAF has been. But, if they do it, maybe like how they done it in the first movie when Freddy bit Max in half, where we don't actually see it happen, but we see it from their shadow. Not sure exactly what they could do differently here, but as long as we know it happens, hey, that's a win in my book. Next prediction is that we could perhaps see a flashback sequence in the film, and we get to see the unwithered animatronics and what they all looked like before they became broken and, well, withered. In the first movie, there was going to be a flashback sequence with Vanessa at the pizzeria when she was a kid, and we got to see the animatronics in a much cleaner and fixed condition. Even Foxy was fixed. They gave him legs and 2 toes? But anyways, we could potentially see some kind of flashback sequence in this film too, and we could see the withereds of what they looked like before, especially Bonnie. The poor man ain't got a face anymore. There's too many fan iterations of what his face looked like, man. Scott, we need to see the official design of him fixed. Now, with this prediction, I've gone with that we will see a cameo, or an appearance of either Shadow Freddy or Shadow Bonnie, or both of them. Now, I know we technically got the Shadow Freddy cameo in the first movie, since we see him in the parts and service room on the floor next to the Sparky the dog suit, which Max ended up getting stuffed into. So maybe we could see that same Shadow Freddy coming back with Max possessing the suit, and maybe she could try to help them in this film if Shadow Freddy makes a return? I don't know, I'm just yapping nonsense right now, I can't lie. Either way, both Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie are Easter eggs that you can find in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, so having them as an Easter egg for them would be pretty cool too. Maybe for Shadow Bonnie it can simply be just, a shot where we see Toy Bonnie's shadow very clearly on the wall or on the floor, and we can just look at that and go, haha, it's Shadow Bonnie, I get it. Or perhaps as well referencing to Toy Bonnie's music box. We could perhaps hear that in the soundtrack. That could also be a direct reference to Shadow Bonnie. Who knows? Okay, now this prediction is almost like a continuation to an old prediction, but that is that this movie will be scarier than the first film. Now, I'm saying this one because it was revealed that Blumhouse has taken back some feedback and criticism from the first movie, and it is said for this movie that they will aim to focus more on the horror aspect to the movie, which is great to hear. I guess I should also make reference to another old prediction of them relying on jump scares too much, because if that's how they add more to the horror aspect, then yeah, I don't know about that, Scott. So if they are able to set the tone right and execute things the right way, even the jump scares, then hey, that's a win for me. Next prediction is another continuation of an old prediction. Oh boy. And that is that the score will be better than the first films. Now, I ain't saying that the score in the first movie wasn't good. No, no, no. If you've seen my other videos, you would know that I thought the score was probably one of the best parts to the movie. The Newton brothers absolutely killed it with the soundtrack. And in Dorko's interview with Scott, the second one, he said that he loved the score so much, specifically the theme song, and he wants it to come back in the next movie.
Like, absolute insane. Like, I listened to that the first time and I was like, wait a minute, do I have a theme song? Does Five Nights at Freddy's have a theme song? Like, I can't tell you how excited I was over that. And you better believe you're going to hear that again at the beginning of the second movie too. I mean, that was just so incredible. The Newton brothers just knocked that out of the park.
So that kind of confirms that the Newton brothers will be back again to make the score for the second film. But I just have a feeling that, this score is just going to go even harder than the first movies. And I can't wait for that. Now, next prediction is quite a random one, but, you know, just hear me out on this, okay? And that is that Withered Bonnie will punch Mike at some point in the film. Okay, maybe not specifically Mike, but, you know, he will punch somebody. And I know, yes, that is really specific, but hear me out here, okay? Does Withered Bonnie ever punch anybody in FNAF 2? No, he does not. But if you guys are familiar with the fan game, The Joy of Creation, Ignited Bonnie's jump scare in that game is him screaming in your face and then knocking you out cold. Smacked right in the face. And I mainly am saying this because Bonnie's design in that game is inspired by Withered Bonnie's design. So, having Withered Bonnie do a similar action to that in the movie could be, you know, a fun little reference for us to point out. It could be quite fun, you never know. Moving on, this next one is also a bit of a stretch, but I wanted to make things interesting here, and I'm saying that Aunt Jane will die in this movie. Now, I know this one is a bit of a stretch, okay? Since most of us probably thought she was killed in the first movie when Golden Freddy put her to sleep, but I am pretty sure it was confirmed that Jane is still alive. So we could perhaps see her in this film trying to, you know, still take custody of Abby, and then when she goes into the pizzeria perhaps to try and meddle with Mike's job yet again, like when she did it the first time with hiring Max and the Vandals in the first movie, and, you know, she ends up in the pizzeria and gets herself munched on by Mangle, or, you know, even punched in the face by Bonnie. There's many ways they could kill her off, but I feel like it would just be good karma for her to get what she deserves, you know? Now, this next prediction kind of links back to a prediction I've made earlier, and that is that we get to see the puppet giving life to the animatronics. Like I said before, the Give Gifts, Give Life minigame shows exactly that happening. So even if it was shown in an 8-bit minigame sequence or an actual live-action sequence, that would be really cool to see. And it would also be good explanation for the story and the lore of the movie, and show people how the animatronic suits actually had gotten possessed. And I'm now realizing that I also made this prediction before in the first film. Oh, for fuck. Okay, next prediction is that we will either get a cameo or, you know, see an appearance of Jeremy Fitzgerald. If you don't know, Jeremy Fitzgerald is the night guard that you play as in FNAF 2. So having him be in this movie just like Mike Schmidt was in the first movie, as Mike Schmidt was also the night guard from the first game, whether Jeremy has a prominent role in this movie and, you know, sticks with Mike, or whether it's like the first movie where we see a night guard in the pizzeria trying to escape the animatronics but fails to succeed. We could perhaps see a similar thing like that, but with Jeremy? I don't know. Next, this prediction is a bit of a funny one, and that is that Mike will be scared of Balloon Boy. Now, if you remember from the first movie, I'm making a lot of callbacks to the first movie here, I'm just realizing. There was a few times throughout the film where a little Balloon Boy figure would just randomly pop out of nowhere and constantly scare Mike. Which also just so happened to be probably one of the only jump scares in the movie that actually got me. So, you know, I feel like it would be a funny gag to, you know, continue into the second movie where Mike will just see Balloon Boy just randomly out of nowhere and just get spooked by him. Okay, now this prediction is another stretch, but I have my reasons for it, alright? And that is that the puppet will be friendly to Mike, Abby, and Vanessa in this movie. First of all, I want to bring a bit of attention to one of the voice lines that the puppet says in Ultimate Custom Night. And one of those voice lines is,
"The others are like animals, but I am very aware."
This one in particular shows that she's in control of herself. She knows what is going on, and it makes sense since the puppet is the one who gave life to the animatronics. So I feel like she wouldn't be under the influence of Afton or anyone else or anyone in control. The puppet would be the one in control. And then at this point, this is when I've just had a revelation with this prediction, because I have another piece of evidence to back up this claim. In the ending of FNAF 6, when Henry is giving his awesome speech, at the end, he starts talking to his daughter, Charlie, and he says,
"My daughter, if you can hear me, I knew you would return as well. It's in your nature to protect the innocent. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were shut out and left to die, no one was there to lift you up into their arms the way you lifted others into yours."
Clues are right there, people.
It's always been in Charlie's nature to protect the innocent. This is exactly what the puppet's motivations were in the games. She's always been the protector. So I feel like they have to keep the puppet's nurturing personality in the movie and have her be friendly and protective even towards Mike, Abby, and Vanessa. Hi, this is Editing FB here from the future. I just wanted to add in another specific note about this particular prediction. Me and the hottest dog were having a little conversation about this one, and he added a very interesting prediction slash theory, which I thought would be very interesting to mention. So thanks to the hottest dog for reminding me about this one. He says that he's thinking that the puppet is going to be Garrett, because we never saw Garrett's ghost in the first movie, and the puppet is the only other possessed animatronic we haven't seen, which is a very good point, and that would just make so much more sense for the puppet to protect Mike and Abby, because it's literally his own brother. Now, the next prediction is another puppet-related one, and that is that we will see the puppet, or Charlie's, backstory. In other words, William Afton's first kill. God, I have like 3 predictions that are all connected to each other right now, I swear to God. But this makes sense because it is very evident that the puppet is going to be an important character in this movie. I just have that feeling. So, linking back to the flashback sequence prediction that I made, and also with the give cake minigame, this is what that flashback sequence could be. We see Charlie's backstory, and we witness her death. And it also could give us the reason why we will see William Afton in this movie, since we know Matthew Lillard is returning in this movie. So perhaps we'll see Afton more in the flashback sequences of the movie, and one of them is Afton taking his first victim. And maybe we'll find out, you know, what actually led him down his path to becoming the psychotic murderer that we know him as today. I'd also like to add on, with the puppet being an important character in the movie, as the production title for the movie is literally labeled as Music Box.
It's literally connecting to the puppet, guys. Come on.
Right, this next prediction isn't really something that will happen in the film, but it's related to the movie, and that is that there will be a scare maze or some kind of attraction during Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios.
I'm stealing this one from the hottest dog since he made this prediction last year for the first movie. And now I'm using it.
But think about it. Last year, they had the animatronics out on display during Halloween Horror Nights for the attraction Blumhouse's Behind the Screams. They could potentially do something like that again next year and have the animatronics on display again. Or, considering there are so many more animatronics in this movie, having them out in a scare maze would be an amazing idea. And most importantly, having them out on Halloween Horror Nights would make them fantastic promotion for the movie, since Horror Nights runs through from the end of August all the way until the start of November. That's just over 2 months of time for them to be on display and promote the hell out of this movie. How freaking dope would it be to have a full-on scare maze with the actual animatronics from the movie be there to scare you? But yeah, if Universal and Blumhouse can do it once, oh boy, they can do it again. Alright, now for this next prediction, I made this last time as a joke and it ended up being right, so I'm doing it again. And that is that in the ending credits to the movie, they will play the Living Tombstone song, It's Been So Long. I'm only making this prediction purely because I was right the first time, even though I was joking. So I'm gonna carry up my luck again and see if that happens again. I guess maybe some honorable mentions to other songs that they could perhaps play is, I don't know, maybe JT Music's FNAF 2 rap, or maybe Triad Ninja's Puppet song, or maybe Lockdown by Shara X.
Oh, that song is actually really underrated though.
Okay, now we are on to the penultimate prediction, and that is that Golden Freddy will have the least screen time in the movie. Now, I'm making this prediction simply for the fact that Golden Freddy hardly had much screen time in the first movie, and I am meaning the actual Golden Freddy suit, not the ghost kid possessing him. He had a lot more screen time than the actual animatronic, but I feel like they'd probably do that again with this one. Then again, you see how many animatronics there are in FNAF 2?
Holy crap.
That's if they'll even include him in this movie, though. Wait, I mean, I feel like they would. They couldn't leave him out. Oh, and I probably should specify as well, I am meaning Withered Golden Freddy, but you probably did figure that one out already. And finally, the last prediction I have on the list is that we will have our first look of Springtrap at the end of the film. Whether it's at the ending, or if it's as a post-credit scene, somewhere we will get a setup for the third movie, seeing the rise of Springtrap. It only makes sense that we see him at the end because Springtrap wasn't in the second game, and Scott said that he wanted each movie to be about their respective games. So it's likely we're not going to see Afton coming back as Springtrap in this movie, but we would definitely get a glimpse of him in the ending, setting up the third movie. To be fair, the first movie done it with playing the Puppets music box in the credits, so they could perhaps do something like that again with this movie. I'd also just like to add that Universal had posted the ending of the movie on their channel and titled it The Springtrap Transformation.
Oh boy, they know something.
But there we have it. Those are all of my predictions for the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. Let me know what you guys think about these predictions. Which ones do you agree on? Which ones do you not think will be likely to happen? Or let me know what other predictions you might have. Just remember, of course, these are my personal predictions. I'm just having some fun here and making some guesses about what I think could happen in the film. So, if any of you would like the bingo list for yourself, then you can just
Pause the video here and take a screenshot now. Did you get it? Okay, good.
Anyways, that's really it from me. I have nothing else to say. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe.